The legend of the werewolf is actually quite prevalent throughout history and can be traced all the way back to early Greek mythology. This means, they were likely more prevalent than the closely related mythical lore behind the vampire, which is a relatively new creature when compared to the Lycan. While werewolves have been made popular in both literature and film, there are many real accounts behind the stories that inspire these hideous, volatile beasts who are said to have slain many a human. The other interesting thing about the legend of the werewolf is that its origins come from many places, not just one. Therefore, could there be any truth to the half-man, half-beast that many speak of in terms of pure fantasy? Could this particular species of wolf have actually been an animal that prowled around on the night of the full moon, looking for its next unsuspecting prey? The legend of Gilgamesh is believed to be the oldest form of prose that's known in Western literature. It also tells of a woman who turned her lover from a human to a wolf, which is also believed to be one of the earliest known records of the mention of anything close to a werewolf. Where this inspiration came from or if it was spawned from a verbal legend is unclear. The next mention of a werewolf is where the term, Lycan, comes from Greek mythology. Those familiar with werewolf lore might recognize the legend of Lycaon. Lycaon was a son of Pelasgus, who made a fatal flaw in serving Zeus the remains of a boy who was sacrificed. According to the legend, Zeus didn't turn Lycaon into a wolf but, rather, turned his sons into wolves. This could have very well been the official starting point for the legends surrounding werewolves and wolf-like humans, but as with many legends throughout history, the legend of the Lycan would soon appear in another place. The next appearance of this mythical creature occurs in Nordic folklore with the tale of a father and son who stumble upon some unusual wolf pellets. According to legend, these pellets had the ability to turn people into wolves for a total of 10 days. However, upon finding these magic pellets, both the father and son wore them, which led them on a rampage, wreaking havoc through the forest for 10 days straight. In a bizarre turn of fate, the father then attacked his son, who was only saved by the grace of a raven lending him a leaf with healing powers. This legend from the saga of the Volsungs is likely the closest thing to a modern-day telling of a werewolf. While there's obviously no evidence of an actual human-to-wolf transformation, there are stories of brutal encounters with humans claiming to have a wolf prowess. These werewolves were actually infamous serial killers who claimed to be otherwise. Two of the most infamous cases were Michel Verdun and Pierre Berget, who both claimed to be able to transform into wolves back in 1521. Upon their heinous confessions, they were burned at the stake, as was customary with any alleged mythical creature during that time, when people simply didn't know any better. Another well-known case is that of the werewolf of Dole, who made his mark during the 16th century, known by his real name of Gilles Garnier. His targets were children, and he, too, was burned at the stake after confessing to such horrible crimes. Just like Berget and Verdun, Garnier claimed to have an ointment that granted him the ability to transform into a wolf at will. Today, it's surmised that all three of the men were likely suffering from a mental illness of sorts, but that remains to be seen. In folklore, a werewolf is a human who could turn oneself into a wolf, or as modern film dictates, a hybrid creature that's part man and part wolf. This usually comes about because of either a curse or because the human in question possesses some divine ability, allowing him to morph into a crazed, bloodthirsty monster. In other tales, a werewolf can transform another human by either scratching or biting them, similar to a vampire. The idea of werewolves is a widespread concept, especially because of how they have been brought into the limelight of today's media and film. They are often portrayed as feared beasts, some possessing super strength and are generally menaces to societies. But what if I told you that werewolves may not have been just fictional creatures? Belief in werewolves began around the same time that witches were being persecuted, in the late Middle Ages across Europe. In fact, as early as the 15th century, werewolf trials were even held to condemn those who were either accused of being a werewolf or who were straight up proud of it. Some accusations could even be mixed with wolf riding or wolf charming, which is a supposed act of casting spells on wolves and having them do one's bidding. In fact, in places like Estonia, werewolf hunting and werewolf trials became more common than the persecution of witches. The phenomenon would spread across Bavaria and Austria, all the way into the early 18th century. So, it begs the question as to whether people misunderstood what they were seeing on a global scale or whether werewolves did indeed roam the land once on the time. In Eastern Europe, most notably Estonia, occult practices often took place by pagans who were defying the Christian Church. But these pagans did not believe in Satan and weren't interested in the destruction of Christianity. Instead, they were keener on learning malevolent spells as well as the transformation into werewolves.